Hey guys, how's it going? It's 8-Bit Eric. Welcome to the channel. Today's video game is an adventure RPG game that has a retro presentation that pays homage to games like Zelda 2 and games of that time. This is called Phoenotopia Awakening. This is on the Nintendo Switch. It just came out and it's actually pretty neat. Now this previously was a mobile game. There was a game called Phoenotopia. This is like an updated version of it that is bigger and better than what it was on mobile. This is a huge, impressive indie game for what you got here. Now, what attracted me the most, again, was the comparison to Zelda 2. It has that 2D adventure feel to it, where you're going back and forth from villages, caves, dungeons, and it just has a certain charm to it. Now, the main character's name is Gail. She's a pink-haired little villager who goes on an adventure to rescue the people in her village. So her village is kind of like a simple little farm town. There's a orphanage with a whole bunch of kids in it, but there's also adults. For whatever reason, something happens to where all the adults in the village get abducted. So it's up to Gail to save the day. So she's like the oldest member. She's the most responsible out of her bunch. She's like the Peter Pan of her crew. Now, there's a pretty good little adventure here. Now, it is a single-player, narrative-driven game, so there's a lot of text, there's a lot of reading and stuff, but the game has some of that charm that a lot of these indie games present nowadays. I'm very happy with how the characters look. The towns, the colors, everything is pretty vibrant in here. The dungeons, the backgrounds, the enemies, everything just looks real well done. There's a lot of great sprite work in this game. And I gotta say, I was pretty impressed with how some of the level design, the dungeon design, the overworld, everything looked into it. It's pretty solid. Now, there is a variety of tools and weapons, actually. I think there's like over 10 different types of weapons and tools, like a slingshot, different types of things that you can use. So it's pretty expansive. There's bombs. You can play a flute. There's even rocket boots. And it's actually impressive with how many different enemies and characters they have. I think there's like 12 boss fights, over 50 enemy types that are all completely different. And it's actually really challenging as far as games go. I was stuck in the first dungeon for quite some time because the frog enemies and even the main first boss just kept killing me. And it took me some time to get used to it. There's a crafting system, like if you find toad legs or pieces of meat that you can cook. There's a cooking system in here that you have to kind of do like a quick time event type of thing to time it just right so you can heal yourself. So there was a little bit of a grind, but it didn't feel punishing to the extent of like a Dark Souls or anything like that. It felt really old school in its feel. It felt like this was almost accurate to like a Super Nintendo game or even an NES game in that regard. Now, there's a lot of secrets in this game. There's energy packets that make your energy bigger, heart pieces that make your health bigger, there's moonstones. There's a lot of collectibles in this, so you can explore and navigate, and it feels like any other old school game, actually. If you played Zelda 2, which is the thing that I'm comparing it the most to, you probably will be alright picking this game up and taking a look at it. There's even like the random encounters when you're on the world map. You'll see the enemies, like the little black silhouettes, pop up and chase after you. That is straight out of Zelda 2, and it's not a bad thing. Even though Zelda 2 gets a bit of a bad rap, that is a pretty classic game that inspired and shaped a lot of games, including this one. And it was pretty ambitious. I saw videos of the mobile version of this game from a couple years ago. They did a lot of work to put this out on the Nintendo Switch. Not to mention, there's a real good soundtrack. There's real good chiptune soundtrack and everything like that. And there's at least 25 hours of playtime in this game. Maybe even more if you're a little bit of a completionist, like if I mentioned, if you want to explore and get all the extra items and things like that. So for the size of what this game is, I feel there's a perfect amount of adventure, of experience in here, of challenge. If you're a retro gaming fanatic like myself, you might definitely consider checking this game out for sure. Now, it's $20 in the Switch eShop. As of right now, there's no physical coming out for it, so that might unfortunately make people miss out on this. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a physical version released through a publishing company like Limited Run or not. I could see that happening because this game is just that solid. This game does feel like a higher end indie title that could potentially be a new franchise. I mean, Gail is a very charming character, like I said. Controlling her is buttery smooth. Going through the dungeons, exploring. She could like crawl, she could slide, she could jump, she could shoot a slingshot. There's different bevies of weapons and stuff. The cooking elements. This game is a lot more developed than what would be led to be on. So if you had previous experience of the mobile game and you're thinking this might be the same exact game or it might be a mobile port, you're going to be completely wrong. Don't miss out on this game at all. Honestly, I think this was actually a pretty impressive game. This is probably one of the better adventure games I've seen as far as indie games go on the Nintendo Switch. And I don't believe that this is on cross-platform or anything else, if this is like on Xbox or anything. I could be mistaken. I didn't really get to check it out beforehand. Right now, I think it is honestly just on Nintendo Switch, maybe Steam. So I could be wrong if it's on something else. But if you are able to get your hands on this game, if you are able to check it out and give it a look, $20 might be a price point that scares some because it's hit or miss in indie titles usually, whether how much content there is or not. But I think 20 bucks is a fair price to ask for the amount of time that this game could definitely provide you. I wouldn't steer you wrong. So Phoenotopia Awakening, can't think of much to say bad about it other than the name. It's kind of a tongue twister to say. The challenge didn't feel too bad. It was frustrating. That might scare some people because there is a bit of a learning curve. It does encourage you again to cook and do all that stuff. So I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I recommend it. I think you guys might enjoy it, especially if you're an old school gamer. Again, the charm, the way it looks, the colors, the sprite work, the homage to games like Zelda 2. Can't go wrong with it, honestly. And the narrative, the story, it's charming. It's a great, well put together game. But anyways, guys, I'm going to end it right there. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, again, let me know in the comments your thoughts, whether this is something that you want to play, something you want to check out, something that you want to pass on. I want to hear from you. Guys, don't forget to leave a like or dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys on the next video. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Peace out. Consider supporting 8-Bit Eric on Patreon for just $1 a month. Link below in the description. You want to become part of the hashtag 8BE Nation, guys? Well, be sure to pick up your official merch, now available online. Link is below in the description. We got classic t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and even women's apparel. Don't forget, pick up your official merch now. And while you're at it, guys, feel free to watch the next video, or why don't you catch up on one that you might have previously missed. Thanks again, guys, for all the support. I couldn't do this without you. You guys are amazing, and don't forget to subscribe and click that like button if you are brand new. Thanks again, guys. Peace out.